feels like talking to a mic.
It makes me think of that old SNL skit where they had the two ladies and Alec Baldwin, and he was a baker, and he would do all this like amazing Christmas baking, and they would talk into the mic like this, and they would say, "Tell us about your sweaty balls," because his last name was Sweaty, and he made these Christmas balls. That's what I feel like we're doing right now.
All right, I'm gonna start the introduction here. And we'll... Dani, how do you say introduction in Russian?
Introduction.
You put me on the spot there.
How do you say Hebrew?
Oh my god, this is like a hard word. 1 second. I need to.
She's gonna Google Translate that.
She's a native speaker of these languages.
Intro. Okay. You say вступление.
Say it, Jordan.
Stuplenia.
Stuplenia.
Okay. There was Black
nice.
Widow over there.
Or no, sorry. No, actually, a better word is introdukcja, which is introduction.
That's what I said the first time.
We also have Dracula on our show tonight.
I feel like that's why I had problems, because I'm like, how do you say introduction in Russian? And it's like literally sounds the same.
Yeah.
It's the same word.
All right, I'm going to start it officially. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hindsight Grad Show Podcast. This is a show dedicated to highlighting the visual communications grad class of 2020 while building community connections. On the show, we will be speaking with students of the visual communications graduating class, as well as local artists, designers, teachers, and business owners. Excellent. And today, we have one guest and one student with us. Our student is Dani Evstratenko. I won't butcher your last name. I'm sorry.
You said it right.
Yeah. How do you say it in just like your native language? I know it's a little different.
So it's originally from Belarus, and you say Evstratenko. And then because like I lived in Israel too, people would say Evstratenko. And here it's Evstratenko.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I said it completely wrong, essentially.
That's okay. I think you were close.
No, you said it right in the
Okay.
English way.
English way. All right. And for our guest, we have April Mandziak.
Yes, the D is silent.
It's Mandziak.
It is.
But the D is silent.
It's Ukrainian.
Yeah.
I don't speak Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Dani probably does.
She speaks every language, and that's fine. But April is a graduated student of the program.
I am.
She graduated last year, right?
I did.
Okay. And then now you work at Tag Concepts.
I do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about that.
I
Yeah.
really love it there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. But I think we'll talk about Dani's project first.
I think we should.
If
I don't
that-
even
if that's
know
okay.
what Dani's doing for her project.
Oh, Dani, on
Oh
the
my
spot.
God. I'm on the spot.
Tell us, Dani.
Okay. So for my final project, I don't know. I've been like interested in animation and video for the longest time now, and I'm kind of like concentrating on mixing those two together. And I've been learning about 3D animation this semester too. So I'm mainly experimenting with my project with like those three aspects. And I forgot what I wanted to say. But yeah, like those are like the 2 or 3 things I'm mainly focusing on. And I'm focusing on, like, in hindsight, just looking back at like the way I started the program here, and like I moved here by myself after I finished high school, like in Israel, and that was like a new chapter in my life and completely changed everything for me. And yeah, and I think I'm just combining the 3 places I grew up in. So like I grew up in Israel mainly, and then I was living in Belarus for 4 years, and then I came here. So I'm mainly kind of exploring the idea of like my memories and like emotions and like what is home for me kind of thing. So yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that's like heavy. I don't.
But also cool.
Yeah.
Like a cool heavy.
Yeah, like cool heavy. Like how many people can say that they've grown up in 3 different countries and now speak like 3 languages pretty fluently.
I think it's 15.
15,
speaks now.
15, yeah. I was like,
get your facts straight, Jordan.
15.
15.
No, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like this subject was very in my head for like the longest time now. Like pretty much since I came here, I was like overlooking all my life and like the places I grew up in, and I was like comparing different cultures in my head, and just like, oh my god, like the way people act here is different, the way people act in Belarus and Israel, it's like all mixed up in my head, and sometimes it's really hard to communicate, because it's like you feel like you almost have a different identity in every language. And I was like hearing about this in a different podcast too, that it's kind of like true about people who are like bilingual or trilingual, like their personality tends to change a little bit. So that was like weird for me to learn about. So like since then I'm like, oh my god, like who am I?
That's so interesting how culture and language could change your personality. Do
Yeah.
you feel that's true?
I feel like I'm the same, but I feel like slightly different. I can feel like in Russian I'm way more softer, and like in English I'm very like I speak a lot, I'm like communicating a lot, but like when I speak to my parents in Russian, I'm like very quiet and like softer, and like my language itself, like my Russian is like soft and weird. And then my Hebrew is like more like loud, and like the way I speak to my friends and everything, it's like more louder and like it more amplified, I guess. So it's, yeah, like, and I noticed that sometimes I'm like, oh my god, this is like so weird, like I wonder if somebody else like noticed that, or but yeah, that's, I don't know.
That is so interesting, actually. Just because I know that like there are words in certain languages that don't have meanings in other languages. Mm-hmm. Essentially, like they represent a certain feeling that we don't necessarily think of.
Yeah, like there's
feeling.
no translation for there's no translation for a lot of words, and yeah, I feel like a lot of and that's the thing that like interesting about those languages too, is that there's like sometimes there's like no translation to some words, and then it's like if I want to say something, it's sometimes hard to express myself, because it's like, oh, I will think about this word in a different language, and it's like, oh my god, like I don't know how to translate it.
Like introduction.
Yeah.
Introdukcja.
Is there a word that has like a certain feeling or vibe in Hebrew or Russian that you just like haven't found a fit for in English?
Yeah, there's the word sababa in Hebrew, which is like or yala, which is more Arabic. But sababa is like, it can mean anything. It just depends on your tone, how you speak. So it's like, it's kind of like okay in English in some point, but it's like you literally can use it for everything. You're like, oh, how are you doing? Like, oh, like I'm like, you can say like, oh, I'm really good, and it's like sababa. Like, I don't know, just like the different ways you can say it, or like the ways you like, oh, like, are you okay? And it's like, yeah, I'm good. And it's like, yeah, sababa. And like it's kind of the same with English sometimes too. Like I notice like, okay, it's like okay, but maybe has a little bit more to it.
Or if someone goes, Kate.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. It's okay.
That's very cool. So you're going to explore like all of those topics of just like different countries and different like versions of yourself in your project?
Yeah. I was thinking about that, and that's kind of, I was thinking about recently too. Just like having different personalities almost, and just kind of trying to showcase that in video and animation. I think I'm gonna go mainly for video and like cover it with animated stuff, because I had like troubles animating things lately. But yeah, I'm gonna explore that idea too.
Yeah.
Can I ask what software you're using?
Oh, definitely.
Please tell me more.
Well, I'm using Adobe Premiere, mainly for video editing, and I think for like my final piece will be in Premiere. And then I'm gonna use a lot of After Effects too for like the animation part of it. Definitely a lot of learning curve in that. And also, there's also Adobe Cinema 4D, which is also like included in After Effects, and that's what I was like playing with 3D elements, like really cool. It's free, like there's a free version of that if you have an Adobe subscription, which is nice. And also Photoshop. Like I started this project by using I tried to do traditional animation, and I did this in Photoshop, and I didn't know you can do that, so it was like an interesting learning experience. But yeah, like you can definitely do that there too, and it works fine. But it's another like thing you have to learn really well, like to do that. And yeah, it's been hard.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
That's cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
like you can do a lot in those programs. So like,
You can do so much.
seeing what
Yeah.
you come up with, like using all of those different programs, is gonna be tight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm excited too. Yeah, just using different elements. Yeah.
That's good.
So, sorry, can I have so many questions. I feel like
No.
I'm taking over for Jordan here.
yeah, no, you can definitely do that.
I can do
Yeah.
that. Okay. How far along are you? Because grad show's not that far away. Are you seeing the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I can see the light. I would say we had a part of our critique this week, and I've been very frustrated because like things didn't go well for me with the animation part, the traditional animation one, because it's like frame by frame, and I had to have like my tablet and everything, and it had some issues, so I'm still like figuring this part out. But I got some other ideas. People seem to be very excited about the video part as well, so I think I'm gonna push that on like the video side too. And for After Effects, I was using mainly like computer. I don't need to use like tablet or anything, so I can still do some part of it. And it's been hard to like think of like scenes and ideas, but I feel like I have like some ideas that I'm gonna like work on for the next few weeks, and it's gonna be tough. Probably a lot of nights that I'm not gonna sleep just for the
It
editing.
always happens.
Yeah, but we'll be good. We'll survive.
You know, when the pitch gets just a little bit higher like that, there might be some stress underneath.
A lot of stress, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Manageable. Yeah.
We just walk around for the last month. We're all like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna do this on my project, and that's why we're just gonna do that.
Yeah. It's like, how are you doing? Oh, stressed, but it's okay.
That's good. April,
Jordan.
what can you tell me about A, yourself, and B, tag? Because I know in like the design world, you have like confidentiality things for like projects and that kind of thing. What can you tell us?
I guess I can tell you a little bit about me and what I do there without
perfect.
saying maybe who I do that work for, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
So, well, right now my LinkedIn profile says that I'm a jack of creative trades. So, I mean, I wrote that, so I feel like it's pretty accurate.
What does that mean?
It means I do a little bit of everything. So right now my title with TAG is I'm a communications officer. So I do a lot of writing with them. I do a lot of copywriting. I call it ghostwriting because I've done so much writing for so many different clients, and no one has any idea that I wrote any of it, right? So that's one of our goals too is, see, I get out of breath when I start talking. It drives me crazy.
That's okay.
Just takes really about authenticity. And so when we work with our clients, we just make sure that everything is really true to them and fitting their brand and being what they want, but also what they need to be. So I change up my writing style a lot when I'm working with different clients. But I also do photography and social media. I do some web stuff, more freelancing than with TAG. Graphic design, sort of you name it, and I can do it. So I'm not necessarily an expert at anything, but I'm like decent at most things.
I believe you are.
Good.
Yeah. I believe you.
You do it. You do it well though, right? Like your work while you were in school was like pretty elaborate, and like you wanted to be like a journalist, right? Is that what you?
Well,
of some sort?
I came to the program wanting to be a photographer, And then when I got here, I realized they didn't actually offer all the photo classes that were listed on the website, which I hope have been removed by now.
Which ones were they?
There used to be a photo 3 and 4.
Oh,
So
wow.
one of them was strictly for portraits, and I think the other one was maybe just an advanced level.
Interesting.
So, yeah, what was really interesting is when I got here, and if you talk to Dean, who used to be the coordinator for the program, so I was interested in photography. I didn't really know. I had always been really creative when I was younger, but it kind of got stifled a little bit, and I was working in a corporate job for oil and gas, and oil crashed, and I just needed to do something different, right? So this was in 2015. And so I came to the program, wanted to do for photography. Wasn't really everything that I expected it to be. Not necessarily in a bad way, just not what I was expecting. And of course, we had to take drawing, which I remember asking one of the instructors how to hold a piece of charcoal in my hands because I had no idea. And then we had to take graphic design and typography, and I was so clueless. I was so terrible. And this is where Dean comes in, because he told me after that he thought I was one of those students that he should sit down and talk to because I was wasting so much money on tuition by being in this program.
Damn.
Which it's okay though. There's a happy ending. But yeah, so I got to this point in the semester because I was just working so hard, and you guys know, like, there's just so many hours and you don't really sleep a lot.
Yeah.
And I got to this point where I just was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't fucking care anymore. Like, I know I suck at this, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And like Dean said, there was like this light bulb just went off. It was like I just hit something. And my next project was my best project, and it ended up in a show here in the one-on-one gallery. And after that, I was like, hey, graphic design, maybe that's a thing I could do. So yeah, I definitely got into design way more after that. And I still do some photography, but it still needs a little bit of work. But one day I would like to do photojournalism, work for Nat Geo.
That'd be cool.
That'd be
You'd
cool.
Travel and make money.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I feel like what you said too about like not caring so much about the work. I mean, it's not that you don't care about the quality of your work or
No.
like what you do. It's just that once you let go of like your expectations
Yes.
of like being a Picasso or like a Michelangelo, you just like, that's when you find your groove and
Yeah.
you start to get way better, way faster.
Instead of this is what I'm supposed to be, or this is what people expect of me, or this is what level I should be at, or comparing yourself to everyone else out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that fine balance of you care, obviously, but you also have to not care sometimes and just do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a little plug in for Garlic, my magazine that I created and published last year.
Yeah.
There will
dude.
be, yeah, thank you. There is a new one coming out soon.
Ooh,
Oh.
that's
So
exciting.
in my first magazine, I wrote, I hope this is something that I thoroughly regret one day. And I already look back at it and regret most of the design. So
That fast, like
that
within
fast,
a year.
Within a year.
Oof.
Which also ties back into tag because I've learned so much there.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Like, especially because it's the co-work space and there's someone in a different sort of field or department there all the time. So you're always learning something from someone,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's like everybody does like client work or of some kind, and it's like, oh, that's what they're doing. That's like cool.
Yeah, you're always talking and sharing and collaborating.
Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky to get that straight out of the program.
Yeah.
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 Deanna is the owner, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, she's great. She's going to be on the show too.
I know. I
exciting.
thought she was going to be on before me, and I said, I'm not going to listen because I don't want what she says to influence what I say.
Yeah, now it's the other way around.
Now it's the other way
Yeah.
around. So, Dee, if you're listening, stop listening.
That's exciting though. But I think, yeah, like that, the co-work space is what design should be about.
Mhm. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah, because so many, like even I found over the years, like I try to do everything by myself and be totally original and totally unique. And it's just like, you can't
You'll-
in a way.
You'll never be original and unique.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
already been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People feed off each other so much. Like you'll hear someone even just say something in a conversation and that's where you get your idea.
Yeah, that's very true. I feel like that's like influences a lot, especially like in this program too. Like when you're in school with the same people all the time, you're having the same conversations. It's so easy to get same ideas almost, like without even thinking about it, like without even trying. It's like sometimes you like have a conversation. have a conversation, you're like, oh my god, what if I do this? And then like another person does it, but like you don't talk about doing it. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, that's cool. Like both of us kind of think about the same thing.
Yeah.
This is like the ultimate workspace.
This is great.
Yeah.
I love it.
But it's also easy to get distracted here.
It is. It's very easy.
That's why, against like some teachers' advice, I just plop on headphones.
Same.
And I can just like drown out anything that's going on. And I usually listen to like one song on repeat for some reason. That just helps me like.
You're one of those guys.
Yeah, it just like helps me chill out, and I can just like zone in on whatever I'm doing.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I have like my top 4.
Top 4? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I heard about a theory today as well. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Kalmini bus stop theory or something. It starts with a K. It's a different name. It's from a photographer. I can't remember his name either. Perfect.
I'm glad you did your homework.
Yeah,
Jordan.
things to write down before you come on to a show.
A live podcast.
Yeah, perfect. But it was basically like, he described it with buses in the city. So like you have all 4 of these buses, and they all start at the same spot. Like their end result is going to be drastically different. But even when they're working their way out of the city, their first couple stops are always like along the same lines. And then once they get closer to the edge of the city, they like branch out, and that's when they get to their destination. And like he related it to art basically. So each stop is like a year, like year 1, year 2, year 3, you might be at the same spot as 3 or 4 other people. And then some people get discouraged by that, and they get off the bus, they take a cab, they go back to the start, and they get onto a new bus. But you never develop your own style because you're always getting discouraged. So basically, if you stay on the bus, sooner or later, you're going to end up...
You'll get to where you need to go.
Yeah, you'll get to where you need to go.
Oh, so inspiring.
Yeah, that's so deep and very, like very true. And
Yeah,
it is true.
Watching just like videos, I realized today too that I was getting stuck in this pattern of like, I don't belong here. I'm unoriginal. My work's not that good. And then I watched...
That's not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
Then I watched a bunch of like inspirational videos from other artists who are like very successful now, who even were like 4 years ago, they would put their timeline at, they were feeling like the same way. And one guy described it pretty well because he was like very scatterbrained, had like a lot of interest, and was like, one day I want to do this, one day I want to do this. And his mentor was like fed up with him complaining that he wasn't getting anywhere. And he was like, listen, you want to write a poem one day, you want to write a song one day, you want to do a drawing the next day. He's like, you're basically laying one brick on 100 different foundations for 100 different homes. And if you just keep laying one brick for each home, you're never going to build a house, essentially. He's like, so you have to take your bricks and build one house with all your bricks. So like stick to one,
like focus.
Yeah, focus on like one thing, and then you'll build your mansion essentially.
So don't be a jack of creative trades.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, I know.
Because after I was like, oh shit,
like, oh, that backfired.
Yeah, I'm only going to be good at one thing. But then I did some research after, like what he said made sense.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah,
like if you want to be really good at one thing, you need to work at that one thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
And then doing research after, because it scared me. It's possible to, like, with proper time management and like human psychology, I guess, you can manage like 3 to 4 hobbies at once. Like any more than that, like if you can't manage your time, then you're not going to get good at the things, because you're just going to keep like one day here, one day here, one day here, where you need to like make time almost every day to do things.
Yeah, it's like you always just have to have a schedule of your life, and like if you're working on a project, like even if it's like your own project, it's like you need to have dates to have it. Okay, I want to be done by this date, and then you can like move on to something else and like learn from it, like not get stuck in a loop kind of thing.
Setting goals and that kind of thing too is huge, and like keeping track of your progress.
Yeah. I remember when I was in school, I literally scheduled myself down to the hour. Every hour of every day, it was like, okay, for this hour I'm working for this class, then the next hour for that class, and then this hour is, I don't know, kids or beer, whatever. But it was all scheduled. I knew what was going on.
Yeah, it's like, especially this month, like without schedules, I can't function. Like I get so overwhelmed and stressed, like right away. If I'm like off of my schedule too, I'm like, where am I? What am I doing? Like, oh my God. And so it's like really hard. And then Ian, like our instructor, he showed me this chart of like
Gantt chart.
Yeah, Gantt chart. Yeah.
See how my voice changes when I say that?
Yeah. So yeah, he showed me that, and it's like blew my mind. It's like I didn't know about it before that, and he showed me that a few weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my god, like this makes so much sense. So I took the idea of that and made my own schedule out of that. So just like lines, but it's still like every day is like I have my hours, and like it's like this is what I'm doing today. Yeah. So, and because before that I was trying to focus on so many things at once that it will get so overwhelming, because it's like, oh, I need to do this, oh, but I also have to do this, and I need to do this, and this. So it's like you're like, and then you just sit there for half an hour,
and then you just don't do anything at all. It's just like fuck,
and you're just like, okay.
Sorry for the swearing.
No, it's okay.
So yeah, it's definitely helps, because then I'm able now to focus on one thing at a time and not get stressed about it, because I'm like, it's okay, I'm gonna work on this other thing tomorrow. I'll be okay.
It definitely helps. Like if you lose focus, it seems like even the smallest task is like the heaviest burden in the world. But if you have like a timeline and you have a focus and you get done like 10 tasks in a day, and you're like, that was super easy.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
You guys just make me want to go home and be productive now.
Right?
Get shit done.
That's the hope.
That's the hope.
For everybody out there, I guess.
I'll just go home and clean up puppy pee. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just like one thing done today.
Yeah, one thing done today.
Yeah. Deanna's like, what do you mean? You didn't do anything at work today?
That's funny.
Yeah. Busted. Yeah. Sorry, April.
It's 7 p.m. I work today.
Yeah. Or did you?
Or did I?
Or did I?
Oof.
Yeah. No, so how do you like, if there's something that you took from the program that you're now like a major life lesson that you can relate to work? Is that a loaded question?
Yeah.
Okay, let's answer it.
Rephrase it.
I almost don't know how.
So something that I learned from the program that I can now apply to work.
Yeah, like any like light bulb moments where you made a connect, like say you're at work and you made a connection, you're like, oh, eureka, like I can now, like that's something I learned in school and it's now just like clicking. Does anything like that ever happen to you?
I don't know.
I'm just gonna not. I'm gonna retract.
Okay, I will say something that's related to that, I think, though.
Okay.
Because a big thing that I learned when I started working full-time design, coming out of the program, because when you're in the program, you're taught about so much process, right? Like everything's process.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate that. Like I'm a huge process person. And when I got to work, my first assignment was actually to make an icon for a podcast.
Ooh.
And I had whatever number of hours to make this, and I spent at least half of that just on process. And Deanna's so nice and so sweet. Like I'm pretty sure in her head she was thinking, "What the fuck?" But out loud she was like, "Okay, well, just gotta make sure we get this done in the right amount of hours." And I think that's a big thing, is the difference from school to working is that you don't have that time for process anymore. Like it just doesn't exist. But it's because you learn that in school in the first place that you're still doing that process. It's just happening so much faster inside your brain. Like that's something that you just learn to do so much more efficiently. And I do have a little bit of a pet peeve I'm going to throw in there about students who complain about process. Because it's so necessary, and it's going to make you so much better, and you actually think about what you're doing, you get your ideas, and it's just something that is going to make you better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I know some people have a hard time with it, because, and I can understand that side too, just how it can get, like, you're focused on, like, making the process, and, like, you're not focusing on finishing the assignment. But at the same time, I feel like if you don't have any process, then it's like, what is your design? Like, what is it about? Like, if you can't explain what you're doing, then it's like, well, what is this then, kind of thing. And that's what I can see in works of people that didn't go to school, and they kind of learned design on their own, and you can tell it's like mainly for the aesthetic of it and like how it looks like, but they can't really explain like their design decisions sometimes. And I have like friends asking me for like to critique their works like once in a while, and I'm just like, well, like, what does this mean? Like, tell me more, like, so I can understand, so I can help you. Because it looks nice. Yeah, right. So it's like, oh, like, what is your opinion about it? I'm like, well, it's aesthetically pleasing, but it's like, what is the purpose of it? Like, what what is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Meaning has like a lot to do with like the work itself. Like if there's no meaning, it's just like, bleh.
Yeah.
It's just fluff.
Yeah, fluff.
Just fluff and stuff.
Yeah.
Fluff.
And I feel like with design too, it's like you, sometimes you don't even have to explain it. Like people should understand what you mean, right? So it's like, because if you're designing for people, they should understand what you're trying to say to them. Whereas like art, you can do anything you want and you're just like, oh, this is
Art, man.
Yeah.
What did I say? Art should ask questions and design should answer them.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for, like a slow burn or a slow read on a design. Something that maybe takes you a minute to get. I'm a huge David Carson fan as well. I like things that are just messy and ugly and illegible. But they serve a purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is a time and place for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Dani, I just want to ask you, where do you want to go when you graduate? Like, what's your...
Danny's eyes just got so huge.
I'm just like...
What's your dream job?
You know, like when you see like a video of like somebody's laughing and then just like stand still and just like all their life, like, oh my God, what the fuck? This is how I feel. I have like those moments every day pretty much. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? Where am I going? Like, what's going on? I would say like I like at some point I really want to work in a design studio, not design studio, but like animation company or something like that and do sketches because at some point I realized that I just really like sketching and I don't like doing the other stuff like the final art pieces. So I had an epiphany moment like a year and a half ago that I'm like, oh my God, I can be a storyboard artist, and like they don't put a lot of effort in. Like it's obviously has to be like you need to understand what's going on in the picture and everything, but it doesn't have to be clean like art lines and color in it and everything. It just has to be you just really have to know how to like do videos and how to draw pretty much. So and I was like, oh my God, like I love this. And yeah, so I feel like that's the direction I want to go to, but I still have a lot to learn about video and like filming, just so that will help me like build my frames in and everything. So and I don't mind doing other things in the meantime, just like learn about like the business, like and like everything they do. So
It makes it sound like it's the mafia or something. Business.
No, I mean, because yeah, there's just like so many layers of like every person does something different, and so but I'm also like interested in art and design and just like keep working on video, honestly, and websites and things like that. I feel like websites too. Like I wouldn't mind like having a job being like a web developer or something like that.
Yeah. So. That's like the cool thing about this program too, is I feel like everyone comes in with like a goal, like you wanted to be a photographer, and that's kind of why I came here as well, because I was originally planning on going to Edmonton.
You came in to do photo?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because
which by the way, the stuff you're doing on film right now,
yeah,
I fucking love it.
Oh, thank you.
Because I am all for the same thing about like photography has gone to this point of perfection, and it shouldn't be anymore. Like
yeah,
I really like what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that part of your grad project?
Yeah, kind of. Like everything I've been posting has been like test photos and getting lighting right and everything like that and exposure. But they've actually been turning out like really nice.
They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw like when you were showing that in class, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. This looks so like deep. Honestly, it looks like very, very nice to look at, but also like you're like, oh my God, there's so much like meaning behind it. You can build that story in your head almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Keep doing that.
We're just gonna keep amping you up here.
Yeah. Woo, woo. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we've got like 2 minutes left.
2 minutes?
Wow.
To be honest, I lost track. But I'm just going to say, I know that we started.
How long is it supposed to be?
It's 30 minutes, but we're at 35. But I think there was like 4 or 5 minutes where we were just like messing around with the mics originally.
Okay.
Damn.
So, we talk about whatever you guys want.
Wow. Come to our grad show.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Come to
gonna
our
be
grad
fun.
show.
Yeah, come to the grad show.
April 4th.
April
Yeah.
4th.
Yeah.
video is gonna be up soon about every student in our class.
How many
Oh,
students
yeah.
are there?
There's 20, I think, 21, 22.
I think.
Yeah, because Danny's doing videos for the class, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, and we have like a team of 3 people, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, so we're doing like, you guys did like interviews with everybody?
Yeah, we did interviews and like process, like whatever everybody's working on. Like we're still working on a bunch of stuff, but yeah.
When's that coming out?
I think they're gonna start posting it on Saturday. Like
On Saturday.
yeah, it's gonna be on the same day with like the photo shots or
Oh, the headshots?
headshots.
Headshots, yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So
I'm
stay
excited to see it.
tuned. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be so exciting.
It's always so fun to see grad show stuff.
Yeah.
Like whether it's the year that's ahead of you or behind you or whatever, you're just like, what's it gonna be?
Yeah.
That's great. I love like the little mystery,
Yeah.
you know.
It's like, oh, what are you working on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a loaded year too. I think like the grad show is gonna be like, there's so much subject matter and like
Effing mint.
yeah, there's stuff about like mental health and there's like full body casts and like there's just,
I heard about a full body cast.
there are
That
a lot.
sounds cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of different mediums this year. It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Okay,
Like-
list them all right now, quick.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
I don't know.
introduction.
All right. Well, I think we're out of time, but thank you for being on the show, April,
Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming, April.
and thanks
It's
for
good seeing you.
thanks
I was so nervous, but you guys really made me feel
yeah.
comfortable.
You're natural.
So we'll see.
Yeah. And then thanks to Dani as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's
Yeah.
really fun.
Thanks, Danny, for being here.
Thanks,
Thanks,
you.
Jordan, for hosting this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan, for being the host.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah, thank you.
It's just a circle of thank yous. We're just gonna keep going.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah. How dare you?
I think my laugh blew the mic on that one.
Yeah, maybe. That's funny. And thank you to everyone out there for tuning into the Hindsight Graduation Podcast. To learn more about our grads and to listen to more episodes, click like and subscribe. Grad Show MHC is on Facebook and Instagram. Look out for that tag or that handle, I guess you could say, Grad Show MHC. Nailed it. And don't be afraid to come visit us on our new website, hindsight.gallery, where you can see videos of the students. There's links to the podcast episodes. There's going to be some good photography on there. There's going to be everything. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.